Hello, this is duntov. So today I am at the Hard Rock site. It is Monday, March 16th, 2026. Alright, so right now I am on the Caesar's Palace garage. This way we could check out this south-facing side of the site. So from here I do not really see anyone working on the theater structure yet, this area over here. It is currently, let me check my watch, 6:53 right now. So the sun's just coming up. We can see over here, I don't see anyone in this area. If you remember, last time I was out here, I was showing there was crew working up here. And I wasn't sure what they were working on. And after we downloaded the video, we were able to see that it's like for the fire system. We got all the, like sprinkler system and stuff. And to hook up all the hoses. So that's what they're doing over there in their stairwell here. But I do see a few people here and there working up top, so I'm going to try to see if we can see what they're working on in there. I do see some people at the very top over here. This is the top floors of the old Mirage Tower, and we can see how big these rooms are compared to the other ones below. Because most of the ones below are just like one section. It would be just like this section here. Let's try to see what they have there. Okay, it looks like they're doing demo. Obviously that piece looked broke. And probably putting it in some kind of bin to wheel it out of there. Trying to see, let's look at the ceiling there. Are they tearing off all the drywall? Or yep, that's what that looks like there. So they're still gutting a lot of stuff. You can see he's got the cart moving all that stuff out. And we're losing focus. Alright, so they're still gutting up there. I see something at the top over here I want to check out. There it is there. Alright, that's just looks like some kind of cart to move stuff out. by looking in these levels here, there still seems like there's a lot of stuff they have to, you know, how they're just tearing everything out. It seems like there's a long way to go. Just the way everything in there is tore up, where, you know, just to remodel everything, it seems like it's gonna be a while. I see a few more people off to the side here. And then right off over here, there's some more people right above this roof line. I'm going to look right by the crane. It looks like they're putting up some more of the black tarps over here. Again, if you look at this whole old tower there is no more gold glass on this side of the tower. If you look real close, you can see that the crane is moving right now. So I will make my way over to the other deck. We'll see if they are still lifting steel for the theater area. Thought I saw someone peeking out over here. Yep. Just all that black. It's hard for this to focus on there. Well, you saw someone was peeking out through that tarp. Alright, the guitar tower is looking really good with all that glass up. I did see a video the other day again. They were testing some of the light strips that were going across the different levels. I have yet to catch it myself though. Alright, you can see on the buildings, still got the lights on, like at the Palazzo there and at the Venetian. So the sun doesn't seem like it came up over the mountain yet. I'm trying to make out. We might not be able to see what they're lifting with this east crane here. You can see the cables though. They have a few different cables, so something bigger than usual. So I did bring my Pocket 3 today. I'm gonna walk down along the strip and put it up over the wall. I want to check out that front area and see what if you remember last time I was out front there, they're down along Las Vegas Boulevard. They are building like that lower steel structure. So I want to go down there and check that out and see how that's coming. So we'll walk over there and let's see what's going on. Then we can see they do have that little crane down there, and it looks like it is moving some steel. So that's why I'll head over there. We'll see what they're working on down that way. Because from here, as you can see, the buildings are in the way from the Caesar's Palace here. Alright, you get a real good look of the shape of the guitar now, how it's coming back up around at the top. It should be about ready to even out and then go back in. I'm just going to zoom into these upper floors and we'll see what they're working on. This west crane up here just swung around. When I was walking from the car here, they were putting up some of these rebar cages for the columns. So they should be putting a couple more, it looks like, over here on this side. I think this is the one they just lifted. Don't really see too many people up on these levels here. Not doing anything inside. And there you can see all like the forms for all the decking for these different levels. I did get it a couple times where they actually were pulling one of these out from this lower level and moving it up into the upper level. So this whole thing will slide out and they could slide it up top, you know, for the next level. Pretty cool how they have this set up. Alright, let's see what they're swinging around here. And we can see it is not a rebar cage this time. Okay, I would guess something for some kind of forms or to hold something. They're actually swinging around pretty far out there. Alright, Alright, I'm going to make my way over to the other parking deck so we could try to get a look into the theater area. See what's going on over there. And then I'll make my way to Strip. Because that small crane out front by Las Vegas Boulevard, that one is moving a lot of steel around. So I want to see what they're doing over there. Okay, I'm on the other deck here. We do have the sun, of course, shining right in our face. You can see it over here coming up. But I think if we zoom in, we should be okay down here. Alright, so we do have a lot more of the steel went up for this theater area. We'll keep an eye on this crane here. It just swung back around. We'll see what they're gonna pick up. Just going to pan around a little bit, that way we'll see what's going on in here. It's kind of hard right now, the sun is just shining right in my face. You can get a good view now. You can see all the different levels of the seating, how it will be, and that should swing all the way around over here. I do see some flashing over here. Could be doing some kind of welding. Let's check it out. No, I don't know if it's welding or like a cutting with the torch. Losing focus. Alright, we're losing focus in there, but kind of looks like he's cutting through them beams. Alright, let me swing over here. They're offloading something off of this flatbed. Looks like it could be the same things I was showing last week. And thank you for all the comments. A lot of air handler units is what. And there, it looks like it might be the same thing here. Remember last week I was showing the flatbed truck, and on the truck itself, just with the reflection I was getting, it looked like they were like transparent boxes, but it was actually just like these, where it was the, just the kind of the sheet metal looking reflection. And then they had the AHU on them, air handling units, so these might be the same thing. And they're offloading a lot of stuff. We can see how they're putting them over here on the side. Let me see if we can read the label there. I cannot. Oh, right there. There you go, air handling unit LT24. I can really hear that thing. I don't know. That what I was showing earlier, was that like a plasma cutter, or? But I could really hear that thing, him cutting it even way up here where I'm at. Alright, let me swing back around. I don't know if I'll be able to find what they're lowering, but the crane did spin back around. Let's see if they're going up top here. You can see the cable right there. So we missed whatever they lifted there. Let me go back down to this person using this, some kind of cutter. It's just messing up with the focus. I think a lot of it just because there's not enough light down here yet either. Yeah, I want to show the lower roof here. You can see the end of the cable hanging there. Everything they're loading up is behind this giant mound of dirt. But up top there are crews working on this level up here where they're doing something right along the first floor glass. Kind of seems like they're cleaning up the lip. See right there, it looks like they cleaned up all this right over here. Oops, sorry for the shake there. I was actually watching the crane. They're just picking up a small piece of steel right now. Alright, but you got this little lip above like where these vents are. Then you can see how it's cleaned up over here, and there are a few people working right here also. So pretty much they're getting every last like exposed like wall or finish, fascia, they're just moving all that stuff, you know, getting it out of here. And then you can see there's all these bottom floors, they got a lot of them black tarps moved out of the way. But then these floors above, they're still adding the tarps. You can see right there, there's some getting installed over here. Alright, and we got the Tonka truck. Sorry for moving around so much. And we got the Tonka truck over here pushing dirt over the edge of this big pile. Anyone in my age group, we know we used to all have the steel Tonka trucks just like this loader here. And the dump truck. So we're probably going to go dump this through the screen over here. Don't know if it's called a screen, but you know, where they separate out all the big rocks. And then should scoop it up, and then he's going to go dump it on that big pile again. Then he's been dumping it over the backside, just making this pile get, you know, bigger and longer. Okay, they just have that small one left. So air handling units, not sure where those ones are ending up right now. Alright, we'll take one last look at the theater area, then I will head over to the strip to check out the front. So these seats should be curving around soon. Still can see the ends right there where they should curve around to this new area that they're building. they're lowering something right now. That's what they're lowering. You can see smaller pieces of steel. Okay, it looks like they got two because there's something still above them right there. Okay, so that theater is going up pretty quick now. Alright, I'm going to make my way over to the strip side. Let me just show above the old Mirage building. See how much is going up again. Last time I was here, I think we had the 3 floors, and now they're starting this, getting those rebar columns up there to start another level. But you can just see how much more is shooting up over the top of this original tower. Alright, I'm now on the strip. This is right by Treasure Island here. So this area here, I don't know if you remember when the Mirage was here. This is where the Siegfried and Roy sign was. Like it was a statue of them. So that was right here. So they have now put the statue in the Neon Museum. I think they just recently had the reveal of it there, or it's coming up soon. I know I saw it on the news not too long ago. Alright, so right here, this is one of the, used to be the Mirage marquee sign. You can see how that one is totally stripped out. That was the small one, and then the bigger one is on the south end down there. You can see it down by Caesar's Palace there. They're both stripped out completely, just to the framing. Not sure when they are gonna start putting them back together for the new Hard Rock. Okay, so the one thing I noticed on this side, if we look, don't know how well, I can't zoom in as far on this camera, but they're starting to put the glass at the very bottom of the guitar. You can see the level. You got the guys on that lift right there, and then up on that level there, you can see some of the like curved glass that's making the kind of like the stand of the guitar. So this is considered gate 2 right here. You can see Penta. So this one is Penta and McCarthy. A little different than the stadium. The stadium is Mortensen and McCarthy. Alright, let's take a look at the tower here. Alright, those are the steel structure they added on to the front of the base of the guitar there. Alright, so this actually gives a good view the way the sun's hitting all them upper floors there. See the shape of the guitar, how it curves in, and then how the balconies, or at least the curved area there, I don't know if they're going to be full balconies, but it's pretty cool how you can see how they got them floors up there, which obviously will be suites. You know, usually the higher up you go, the more expensive and more luxurious the rooms are. We can see the west crane spinning around there. We'll keep an eye on that and see what they start lifting up into place. I want to show at the bottom of the guitar there. They were putting this up last time. I remember seeing the very bottom base right under the glass. You can see how they are putting the steel studs. And then there's a lot of utilities getting run up there. Right at the edge of where the steel studs are, you can see looks like something for an air conditioner. It looks like some kind of vent work, or could even be an air handling unit in there. And if we look at the level below that, again, this is as far as I could zoom in. You got the tower crane you can see, and then if you look in it, you can see a lot of conduit running up underneath that level over there. Alright, I'm going to put this camera up over the wall right here. We'll check out and see what's going on this side here. Curious if they're ever going to open the sidewalk back up so we could get a closer view. But let me get this camera going up a little. Okay, we're up over this fence. That looks pretty cool right there, that view. And from this side, it looks like the Mirage Tower, looks like all the glass is off over here. So if I had to guess, there's no more gold glass on this old tower. I'm just panning around just to show what's going on, like in this lower area. You remember last time I was showing this area, they were putting some kind of pipes in there. Looks like that's all completed. And even the sidewalk there looks good. This is where they had, we used to be able to walk underneath they had like enclosed the sidewalk where we could walk down there still. Alright, from here, that structure looks like it's getting bigger. It's heading, it's kind of south. Alright, I'm going to make my way across the street and try to go to the other side there by the Caesar's Palace corner. Check out what they're doing. Yeah, I'm walking across Las Vegas Boulevard right now. See the Alright, I made it across. They were moving some truck. We had to wait for that to get through. Alright, let's take a look at this tower from here. You can see the sun is now starting to make its way up over the buildings. Starting to get the sun shining over. So this is the area where there's a lot of that background noise, the music and the talking. And so if you hear my background music, that means it had like a copyright where I had to remove some of the sound because of the copyrighted music in the background. All right, I can't zoom anymore, but that top unfinished area up there, that kind of reminds me of the back of a cruise ship. It's like, you know, this is all floating on the ocean right here. The glasses, the water, and that looks like the back of a cruise ship right there. Because if you didn't know, I love cruises. I take usually about 2 a year. And that's actually what I have already scheduled for this year. Not till July and then October. All right, I'm gonna just stick around a little bit. We're gonna see what they put on this crane right here closest to the road. I do see they have the cable lowered, so we'll wait and see what they're gonna lift up here. I think you could see them through the way the fencing. There we go. So they're lifting something now.
Time doesn't. Little different perspective from down here. Alright, I'm going to continue walking and make my way to that south side there. Alright, so we're still right here. This is the biggest Five Guys right here on Las Vegas Boulevard, in the Venetian. Thank you very much.
Okay, we got the loud music.
Hopefully I can get out of here before it's too loud. Alright, but let's check out this steel they're putting in. It's really big.
Attention players, don't lose out on earning player payback rewards for your slot and video poker play. Get your player's card from any slot attendant now.
I think it's been a couple weeks since I was out front here. Last week, I'm pretty sure my video was just on the Caesar's Palace garage. So from some of the renderings I saw, I'm almost positive that there was like swimming pools in the front by the guitar tower. So if I had to guess, I would say that they're going to be located like on top of one of these levels here. You know, then they'll have all the restaurants and shops and stuff along the road. But I don't see many renderings for that, but if I had to guess, I would say that's what it is. Where there will be at least a pool on top of one of these levels that they're putting in.
Double the money, double the fun. Carded slot and video poker players that lose their first 20 are awarded $20 in player payback free play credits. Player payback rewards are instantly credited to your account and are available for immediate download.
Alright, I'm going to continue down.
To earn player payback rewards, you need to have a rewards card. If you don't have a card, our stock personnel can get you one right away. You don't even need to leave your seat. Use your player's card during our player payback slot and video poker promotion, and we'll cover your first $20 of loss. Wow, let me repeat that. We'll cover your first $20 of loss by instantly crediting your player account with $20 in free slot play.
You hear that? They'll cover your first $20 loss because they know you're going to lose.
Join our Players Club today and start earning player payback rewards. Earn $20 in instant player payback credits for slot and video poker play. To get you started, the first 20 of loss is on us. To keep you going, we will continue to reward you with $20 in player payback credits.
Alright, I want to show, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it from here. I think should be able to. Of course, we got this stupid music again. They really have some big giant steel beams right over there. You look like right by the crane, and a big old beam right there coming out. Alright, and they're lifting something up. Alright, so it's, I mean, this structure is bigger than I thought. Okay, and as I was saying earlier, I thought all the gold glass was gone. I guess I was wrong. If we look right on the edge of the blue guitar tower glass, you can see there is a section right there with some of the gold glass left. Alright, I'm going to move down more. I got to get away from this music. But we can see how much steel's going up over there. Music is bad in the videos because just all that copyright stuff that they do. That just makes it harder to edit because I don't know it's a copyright strike until I download it onto YouTube. And then when I do that, you know, then I have to like either re-render it or try to cut out the sound, and it just takes long. Alright, so I'm going to cross back over Las Vegas Boulevard, just waiting for the light to change. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna have to raise the camera up again, but let's check out. You can see some, so that's what appears to be the last of the glass right there. Not sure why they're keeping that section. Maybe there's something in those rooms there that they don't want exposed to the elements yet. I don't know. And then we have over here, this is the giant marquee sign. Alright, I'm going to put the camera up over this wall. We'll check out what's going on. Alright, I can see they're lifting a rebar cage at the top there. That would be the west crane. And they just lowered that down into place. And then we'll try to see what they're going to pick up again with this crane out front here. A lot of steel down here. Still picking up, hearing the music from across the street. And I'm going to put it kind of right in the center of the screen there. You can see the rounded, a little bit of rounded area there. That would have been pretty sure where the atrium used to be. I know a lot of you said that the guitar tower in Florida does have like a waterfall feature. So maybe that's what they're going to put in this one. But that would have been the location of the original Mirage atrium. Alright, they're starting to lift something. You heard that horn? And it looks like the same thing that they lifted the last time. You can actually watch the reflection in the tower there. Alright, so how I was talking about how they were going to have might have one of the pools located on top of, one of these floors here. Could it be you got that bigger steel beam going across, and could it be going in that area? It has to hold a lot more weight with all the water. Not sure, but something to think about right there. That's looking good. This place is supposed to be done in less than a year and a half. The last I heard was kind of towards like the fall of 2027. So there's still a lot that has to be done. I mean, this tower's going up fast, and this front area should be good, but the one that I'm surprised is the Mirage tower. I didn't realize they were going to do this extensive of a remodel. Just the way they're gutting it. We'll see. You know, whatever they're doing behind those tarps, I guess once they start putting the glass in and closing the building, they'll just pump out those rooms. All right, if you're not following along and you would like to follow along with this build, please subscribe to my channel of Raiders1967 to get updates on this transformation. Well, Mirage transformation, and then the new guitar tower. Anything you liked about the video, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. And then please leave some comments. I like reading all the comments. You know, in Vegas here, we're supposed to hit 100 by like Thursday or Friday. But then I was watching the news this morning before I came out, and they had you know, some of the Midwest was getting major snowstorms, so it's crazy weather. So let me know where you're at. How's your weather? So, you know, if you're in one of these snowstorm places, make sure you stay safe, keep warm. Maybe we'll send some of the 100-degree heat over to your area. But I would like to thank everybody for watching, and I will talk with you guys next time.